Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be answering your questions about careers in biomedical sciences, whether you have questions regarding the HCPC registration or about applying for positions internationally or the differences between biomedical science and biomedical engineering, or all the questions that you have asked me in the last period. I'm going to answer them in this video, so let's go. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. As I promised, I said every month I'm going to dedicate a video for answering your questions, and the reason being that I'm sharing it here so that everybody benefits from those answers, because it's more likely somebody will be in a similar situation will benefit from it, or somebody who had that experience and they would like to share with us a solution or any resources they might be able to help us. That's why I always respond to all of you and say stay tuned, I'll be answering your questions in the next Q&A, so that everybody benefits from it. I do answer to all of you, so thank you everybody who has asked me questions, whether through LinkedIn or commenting on my videos. I really appreciate that, so keep those coming, because this is how we keep the communication going and the conversation going, because that's how we all benefit. It's all about, because believe me, we didn't have this facility, we didn't have YouTube to share this knowledge, so I hope that you guys benefit from it. So let's go. I'm so nosy. Any documents or anything that I share here, I always include the links or anything that you can download in the description of the video. So make sure that you always check the description for any useful links, including my books. Everything I always include it in the description. So look out for the description that I include in all my videos. So let's crack on. So the first question is, am I eligible to register for the HCPC after completing my BSc or bachelor's in India? So my answer is, the eligibility for the HCPC or the Health and Care Professions Council registration depends on whether your degree meets the HCPC standards of proficiency, or SOP, which we're going to look at in few seconds. Also, you need to know if your BSc program is accredited and your experience aligns with UK practices. So you can check if you're eligible with regards of that. However, you have to think if you need to include any essential additional training or courses that can bridge any gaps that you might need to fill to meet the specific standards. And I've got a little story that I want to share with you guys regarding that particular topic. So from that point, think of the registration with the HCPC as a process. You need to make sure that your degree is verified, your BSc from an accredited institution or university. Your experience is validated. You need to have relevant lab experience, which needs to be evaluated, and additional training to bridge any gaps that you might have, or fill any gaps that you might have, such as courses or certification. So your eligibility will depend on meeting the HCPC standards. So before I forget, let me tell you about these courses. I overheard a conversation with one of my colleagues, also from India. It was a casual conversation. She said that she joined us earlier this year from India. She's a biomedical scientist, and she said she had to do additional courses or training in order to fill gaps. I couldn't hear the rest of the conversation, but I just caught that while I was thinking about this video. So I thought to share with you guys that this scenario does exist. So always look at what you need to do in order to top up, let's say, your experience or knowledge that you might need, particularly the experience or even the knowledge, both of them. So what I have done regarding the HCPC registration, which was hard, I've included some links for you guys to look at, and I've put them in the order which I think will make sense for you as a beginner of the whole HCPC registration process. So the first link is the website, which we're going to look at in a few seconds. The next link, which I really think is the first thing you need to look at, which will lead to the other two links. So we'll have a look at them. Here I'm talking about the international route, but I'm going to go through it in a second. So let's go and have a look at the first link, which is the HCPC. I must admit, guys, it is overwhelming. There's a lot of information out there, but it's doable. So even for me, I got confused, but that's the whole point of me creating this channel, to simplify it for you guys. So this is the website. You look for the registration, click on it, and click again on registration, or even getting on the register, and then you will have a look getting on the register. Maybe at the beginning we should have looked at the getting on the register, but whichever way it's easier for you. But I've got the link that I really think you need to look at next, so I've put them in that order. So the first link is where we went through. So there's two routes for the application process. There's the UK and there's the international. So we're going to have a look at the international, because again, I want to be specific to that question that I was asked. So you look at the international applications, you click on that, and then what I would do, I just want to show you where I have links are going to be in the next document, which I'm going to open for, is this PDF, International Application Guidance Notice. So what it has opened for me is the PDF document, which will explain everything. So for me, when I had to collect and have a look at it for you to answer the question for you guys, I got lost a bit. So I had to think of how to explain or simplify. So this is the document that's step-by-step guide to look at when you start. It's got the details here, the email which you need to email regarding international applications, and again it's explaining how you can, so if you click those links, I think it will help you to get started. And then the standard of proficiency, so everything that's highlighted and underlined will lead you to that link directly. That's why I think it's good to start here and then you take it from there. And it takes you through the how to complete the form, first to check if you're eligible or your university is accredited, how can you certify your document, step by step, how the certification should look like, how the document should be presented, etc. So this is quite, and then it takes you to the next step of the details of how to fill your application and so on. It's an online application, so that's why I think this document it's helpful as a starter. Again, ask me any other questions. To be honest, I didn't go through the international route. I had to ask around and find out from the website, because I went through the UK route, so ours is completely different. So yeah, that's the document that will take you. So that's the international application. So that's why I thought it's better to put it in links to just give you a starter point and then you take it from there. So that's the link that we had a look at, is the second one. And then the one after is eligibility to apply for registration. So I've just put these two other links for you, which is already in the PDF document. So we can have a quick look at them. At least you know what to expect. Again, it's in the presentation, downloadable. Have a look at the description. Every video that I post, I put every links that I share or any information. So again, it takes you to the eligibility for registration. It explains, it takes you step by step, which is already in the PDF. I hope I'm not confusing you guys. I got confused when I'm going through it, but this is just showing you where you can take it from there. Let's have a look at the standard of the proficiency. It's already there. So these are the standards that you'll need to meet. This SOP, or standards of proficiency, it's a mouthful, so that's why we acronym everything. Easier for me, and I'm lazy on top of that. So so that's the standards of proficiency. It will take you to that link. Again, if you go to the all the way to right there on the right hand side, you've got the one for biomedical scientists. I think it's 15 professions that the HCPC regulate. Anyway, so look at the biomedical scientist. Out of interest, you can have a look at the others. You never know. You might be interested in other professions in the future. So that's the one there are 15 if I remember. It's just been updated in September. Again, if you go at the end of it, you can click on all of these and check which one they are that you will need to meet. But again, if you go all the way to the bottom of the page, you will find a PDF document which will open up a PDF, and you can use it at your own convenience to refer to when you're doing your eligibility or registration. So yeah, that's all those links which I thought is like a little starter point for you. I would just have a look at the second one, which is the guidance to get you started on to understand the process. So just to recap, the registration process, it involves qualification, experience validation, additional training or courses that you might need. This is applicable to international applicant. So whether you're in India or Africa, so bear that in mind. Any international candidate will have to go through the international route. So these steps are applicable to anybody from outside the UK. So now to the next question. By the time I complete my BSc or Bachelor's of Science, I will have 1 year of experience in a lab. Is this valid in the UK? Experience is incredibly valuable. It's crucial. But also, it's important that you bear in mind and ensure that your lab experience is aligned with the UK standards, because the UK places a strong emphasis on certain practices and techniques. So, you may need to undergo additional training or shadowing to fully adjust, as I explained answering in the first question. So bear that in mind. So let's look at the transferable skills from international lab experience, such as examples I'm giving you here, such as lab techniques, such as microscopy, sample preparation, processing, quality control, such as adhering to SOPs. Let's refer to it as protocols. I forgot what the SOP stands for. This is so disgraceful. I think standards of procedure. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Comment, guys, because when you're recording, you might just your mind just goes blank. So SOP slash protocols, ISO standards. I'm not even going to try and say what ISO stands for. You guys should know. Google it. But if you're in the lab setting, you would have heard about ISO standards. Data management, recording and analyzing lab data. So you need to make sure that your international experience is aligned with the UK practices. How can you do that? You can shadow, if you're in the UK, for example, a UK lab based in your country. You can think of connecting with them, shadowing in the lab, gain additional UK lab certifications, consider short term internships in order to supplement your international experience with the UK specifics exposure. In previous videos, we spoke about the skills that you require to have if you want to become a biomedical scientist, and I've mentioned that in previous videos. So check other videos that I spoke about this. So the skills, just to recap, you need to have the knowledge, of course, which you should have had, practical laboratory skills, manual agility, strong analytical skills, ability to interpret and present data meaningfully, excellent communication skills, to be an excellent team worker, to be able to work alone or under supervision or as part of a team. You need to be patient, accurate, efficient, able to prioritize your work and meet deadlines, be responsible, have common sense, be flexible and adaptable with using different equipment set techniques, and to be able to work under pressure while you're maintaining high standards and attention to details, and to have a sensible IT skills. You need to also consider UK labs, which when I've asked around my international colleagues, we do have technology here compared to other labs outside the UK. I always refer outside the UK, but because let me talk, because I work in microbiology. Microbiology is known to be manual. We still use manual techniques for testing. I was fortunate enough, since I started, I worked in an automated lab. Still, some labs don't have the automation that we have now, but I didn't know that still microbiology use manual techniques. Even when I traveled in the UAE and I visited a microbiology lab, I was actually shocked. That was an eye opening for me. I didn't know that that was still the case internationally. But then when I asked around, apparently in Europe and the USA, we embrace technology in the lab. So that was eye opening for me as well, to explain to you guys, to understand where you might come, the labs that you come from. And also, when I spoke to my international colleagues, they did say that they didn't come across this level of automation in microbiology. So that was very interesting. And I asked one of my international colleagues as well, how did you, because they've employed international biomedical scientists recently, and I asked him, how did you nail the interview? He said, do your research, find out what the level of automation, and make sure that your skills are aligned with the skills that they are looking for. This is the advice I would like to share with you guys if you are considering to work in the UK. Research, find out, update your skill. Also, I wanted to include this table as well. I know a lot of you might be looking for to work in the NHS, but there are more opportunities as well that you can explore, which I believe will speed up your getting recruited if you wanted. Consider international diagnostic laboratories, because now the situation in the UK now, there's loads of hubs. So the NHSs are joining, and there's like hubs, and also the private laboratories are expanding as well. So there's loads of opportunities, but bear in mind those aspects that I always highlight, the difference between the private and the public sector. And I'm speaking from experience, and I will share in a future video very, very soon, elaborating on the experience between the private and the public sector. So don't limit yourself to just looking for the NHS. It's fantastic, but if you want to, I really think you should experience both. I'm glad I experienced both as an MLA and as a BMS. Now looking back, I'm glad I did. It gives you a high level of resilience. And as I spoke in a previous video about my experience, about the future and trends. So have a look at that video where I talk about it. So this table is just for your own reference. But again, have a look at one of those videos where I spoke about it. But I will talk about this in more details, because I've had few questions regarding this, and I thought, okay, right, I'm going to share more in detail. So this is again the discussion points where I spoke about is you need to consider the differences between the public and the private sector. The private sector is more dynamic. You need to have an entrepreneurial mindset. When I started as a biomedical scientist, I really took responsibility of my own training, my own skills, how they are. And also it will expose you to the cutting edge technology. So when you're in the UK, you do take certain things for granted. And this is what I felt when I was here all the time. But when I started traveling and exploring, I found that there's more to that. But also, the public sector, as you know, will provide you stability, structured career progression. Sometimes it can be slow. Bear that in mind. You need to be very, very patient. And also, it's team orientated, which I have experienced that. I've seen that as well. So, from my own personal experience, I thought I gained essential skills in both sectors. And it gave me the resilience and the adaptability, which I really think is an essential skill to maintain these days. And also, it helped me to value the diversity of experiences and technology proficiency that I gained in in the private sector, because you get exposed to all these high end technologies, which because obviously there's money and they are there to make money. It's profit driven, so they have to make sure that they are up to date with technology. So in terms of learning and development, I thought that it's a beneficial from a developmental perspective. So, how would you apply for opportunities? There's two ways. The standard way, registering for career portals, which I think it's not as effective these days. So I like the second one, emailing and pitching for yourself to the head of department. It involves researching about the organization, personalizing your email, strong subject, attaching your resume and covering letter, and make sure to follow up if you don't get a response. The career portals, most of you know, I'm not even going to explain. You just register and so on. I'm really focusing on the second part. I really think that is very important. And from my own personal experience and from my research, this is more effective than just registering for a job and applying for it. I'm not saying it's not effective, but the second one, it's more putting more initiative and stronger results. And I've talked about that in previous videos. So have a look at my other videos if you're new. And if you've been following, well done. If this is just to emphasize how you can apply this in real life experiences, that's why I'm sharing it here in the Q&A questions. So it makes a bit of sense where to apply it. So I've put this email pitch again, is for your own reference on how to apply. You put your subject and all you need to fill the gaps. Again, the second part of that, what you need to do. And also I've explained what that means in one of my videos that is called a speculative application. These are the other positions that you need to consider. I always have this just to remind you. on what is it like to apply if you are not a biomedical scientist. There are other positions that you can apply for where you can progress from there. How can you gain lab experience, UK experience, or if you're abroad, always consider volunteering, internship, work placement, part-time roles. If you're in the UK or applying from outside, don't forget you can apply for Locum, which we're going to talk about soon, to explain what it's about. I already spoke about my previous experience in my last video, and I'm going to elaborate on that, how you can do that. And don't forget on the importance of networking, whether virtual or in person. This goes a long, long, long way. I will always repeat how important networking is. Right, into the next question. It's not actually a question, but it's someone who commented on one of my videos, and I found that very, very inspiring. And I've got a short story to share with you guys on how this is very true. Um, one of my viewers said, I know two MLAs with a degree in biomedical science who don't want to become biomedical scientists. They just enjoy the position and they have become experts. That was commenting on one of my videos when I spoke about MLAs and the differences between MLAs and biomedical scientists. And I agree. This is a great point. Not everybody starts as an MLA, want to become a biomedical scientist. Um, and that's okay. However, some MLAs, they find this position is actually fulfilling for them and they stay because they have other aspirations. I know two individuals who were MLAs for some time. One of them, she had a business idea, and this was giving her the financial security. And eventually, she set up her own business that gave her a great financial revenue. And she resigned and she moved on, and she's happy with her business. So that's good for her. That was her aspiration. And another person as well did the same thing. They started her own business. She started her own business and went back to her own country, and she started a successful business career. So the good thing about being a healthcare professional, you have that security. You're less likely to, if you've got that experience and you've got a good CV, you've got a good career. So in terms of MLA BMSs, it depends on who you are and what your aspirations are. So that was a very good point. So being an MLA does not make you less important. You are just as important as a biomedical scientist. I respect all levels, but for me, my own personal experience, I wanted to become a biomedical scientist. That was something I wanted to do. So that was a very good comment. I really wanted to share here, to show some respect to all those amazing MLAs out there who are making a difference in healthcare. So, again, to elaborate on the lab roles, whether you're an MLA or biomedical scientist, just to remind you, MLA paths, it does involve technical proficiency, specialization in laboratory operations, which is very true. So, I've seen some MLAs who were specializing in particular sections, and I've observed some seniors would refer to them for some advice or some experience advice. Because they know how to operate the machine or because they're dealing with it. So I used to overhear that conversation. So that is actually true. That was eye opening for me. Really, I used to think, oh, MLA are just MLAs, but actually no. So I wanted to confess and show appreciation at that level. The BMS paths, they used advanced diagnostics, leadership, and research roles. So both MLA and BMS roles are essential with different responsibilities and opportunities. So a lot of respect to both. This is just a reminder, like I shared in a previous video, about the salary expectations for your own reference. And as a reminder, also what career progression could be for BMSs and MLAs. I've already spoken about that, but because of the context and this question, I wanted you to appreciate. So now into the another question. I'm in my final year of biomedical science and lack experience. What can I do to get started? Yes, lack of experience is a common concern. I struggled in my career because I did not have lab experience. So it's very difficult, especially if your course doesn't offer a placement. So the best way to gain experience, like I mentioned earlier, internships, volunteering, part-time roles. So start reaching out for university tutors because they often have a connection with the industry. Like I mentioned in previous videos, how you can do that, how you can secure your first job, that I've already spoken about that in detail. So check those videos. And again, networking. is crucial. You don't be afraid to leverage platforms like LinkedIn. I really benefited from LinkedIn, and I wish I used LinkedIn earlier in my career. I didn't even know LinkedIn was there for 20 years, but yeah, so that was interesting. I only used it when I got qualified because I didn't think I was good enough. But use LinkedIn. The amount of opportunities that I've seen flying on LinkedIn. I'm like, people, I know it's overwhelming, and I'm going to talk about how to simplify this process. So don't be afraid to explore LinkedIn. Please, please, please. So, again, just to remind you how to gain experience in biomedical science, networking with industry professionals, internships and volunteering, LinkedIn and university resources, practical experience, networking, all are crucial for career growth. I keep repeating those points because I want it to stick in your head. Petition will stick in your head like we remember songs and memes or whatever. This will help you to understand and appreciate. Again, I've shared this slide on about the career advice and how to try a career before you settle on it. This was a very good quote I saw in one of the pages that I used for the material that I was preparing. It said, "Try out a career before settling on it." So if you're in need of work experience ideas, and make sure that you learn about internships, online experience. I didn't know about online experiences. This was very interesting. I spoke about that extensively, but this is just to remind you these are the other ways where you can get experiences, volunteering, shadowing. Yes, sometimes you have to volunteer. We all had to do volunteering. Like I mentioned about the LinkedIn requests, this is like a sample message. So personalize your message. Make sure you have a look at who that person is. Don't do like uh, I don't know how to say it. Like, you start learning how to, when I first started using LinkedIn, I was observing, learning the how people speak. Even up to this day, I do. I just take it from a proactive way. So let's have a look at this message, sample message. Hi, my name is so and so. Or hi, I'm a final year biomedical scientist student interested in. I'd love to connect and learn more about your work at so and so. Looking forward to connecting. This is a simple message. Don't just add people or follow people. Personalize your message. This is one of the first things I came across when I had to learn about LinkedIn on how. And then after a while, you have your own style. You start knowing how this person behaves. For example, when you check someone's profile, if you see they're inactive, you just don't want to deal with them, which is wrong. I'm sorry, but that is true. There is a first impression, so make sure your picture looks reasonable. Don't do these pictures that look. And I hear people when they talk about LinkedIn, how they, entrepreneurs, when I started networking and speaking to people, I listen to what they're talking about, and they do have first impression on LinkedIn is just as equivalent to first impression in person. So bear in mind, make sure that your LinkedIn looks presentable, your photo looks reasonable, you put some effort into that, because that's the first thing they do. Soon as you drop them a DM or engage on their content, they'll check who you are, and then they see it. I remember there was one entrepreneur in one podcast that I was listening to. He said, this is so bad, but that's what he said. It was his podcast. He said, if I see a student, I just don't even bother looking at their profile. He even said, if I see them put open to work, also I don't even look at them. So that's how judgmental people can be on LinkedIn. So make sure that you make effort. And thank you to everybody who kept on asking questions, who were engaging with me and sending me messages. I really have so much respect for you guys, because you went out of your way and you personalized your message. So well done to everybody who connected with me on LinkedIn. These questions are through LinkedIn, YouTube, and I really have so much respect for you guys, because it takes a lot of guts to do that. I know, but truly, LinkedIn is a very powerful platform. I benefited from it up to this day. All my social media work goes on LinkedIn first, and then the rest. And I did benefit from it the last 3 years specifically, and I'm so grateful. So I'll keep repeating about the importance of LinkedIn. That's why I will share more about it in the future. So stay tuned. But start from now, and then by then, you will see the difference for yourself. So in the time that you spend, like one of my fellow panelists, he said, the time you use on social media and TikTok, make effort being on LinkedIn. And I agree with him, because that's what I did. So yeah, this is part of networking, and again, it will open doors to internships and job opportunities. People are very happy to help. So the next question: can someone with a BSc apply for an MLA and get it? Absolutely. BSc can qualify you for an MLA position, like we've just mentioned about the MLA BMS, and it's an often an entry point into biomedical science field. And many people, like myself, started as an MLA because it will give you the hands-on experience before you decide whether you want to pursue into this position, biomedical scientist, or if you feel like, oh, this is not for me, I'm going to move on to something else. So it's a good starting point. And again, this slide, I'm sharing it again. Both, as an MLA, BMS both give you opportunity for growth, and MLA is an excellent way to gain experience and to work your way up in biomedical science role. Again, this is another slide that I've shared about an overview on MLA versus BMSs. It's giving you the explanation on the differences between both roles. So that's again for your reference. I spoke about this extensively in a previous video, so check that out. But this is again related to the question. I want you to have that for your own reference. These are the qualifications and education for both roles. So at least you know if you qualify or not. As you can see, there's qualifications for MLA and the qualifications for biomedical scientists. So this next question, which is very interesting, and I will talk about that very soon. What are some of I actually copied the questions as they are. So if there's any mistakes, don't worry about it, because I'm keeping this as real as possible, as they say. So, what are the potential questions for Band 5 microbiology interview? And I'm microbiology as well. Thank you. Am I being biased? Let me know in the comment. Yes, I am. Yes, interview for a Band 5 question. The interview questions, they can be daunting, and you need to be very prepared because it really depends on what the assessor or the interviewer is looking for. So expect questions to test your technical knowledge, problem solving abilities, understanding the lab protocols slash SOP. For example, you might be asked about, which is very common, how can you handle contamination? How can you stay updated with like microbiology research? Some of them, they will go this far. How can I handle the research one? Normally I would just go on a Google search, or there was one of the positions when I applied for, be aware of what the trust or the company's current research, what are they doing at the moment, which you can see in the updated the updates, events, all that section. Check that out, because that will show if you know anything about the trust and you've done your research. I remember there was one interview of a private diagnostic company. They said to me, oh, what do you know about this company? I said, yeah, I know this company was initiated yeah, date blah blah blah, and they were like, whoa. Even me, I was impressed. So this is how you can make that first impression, and I did get the job, by the way. So yeah, so what tips I would have: if you are asked a technical question, make sure you understand the problem. Take time to consider the question and structure your answer. I know it's nerve wracking. Yeah, I don't like the application and the CV, but I don't mind the interview question. I take it as a learning, I take it as an experience. So try it that way, you will get over the nervousness. Make sure you use the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. And most importantly, stay calm, because confidence is the key. So, structured, confident answers, they will make a strong impression. Again, as a reminder, these are the skills for biomedical scientists for you to consider, just as a reminder for you and your own reference. This is a very good question, which I learned recently. When I've started exploring and going out and about, is there a difference between biomedical science and biomedical engineering? I didn't even know biomedical engineering existed. I thought it was the same. So that was such an eye-opening concept that I had to come across in the last few years. Yes, there is a significant difference between biomedical science and biomedical engineering. Biomedical sciences focuses on biological and physiological aspects of medicine, such as disease diagnosis, treatment, and research. On the other hand, biomedical engineering applies engineering principles to develop medical devices, equipment, and technologies used in healthcare. So, as someone I remember said, "Oh, biomedical science is about diseases or a problem that already existed, but by biomedical engineering they create." So that was very interesting. So, the answer to this question is yes, there is a difference, and I hope I've elaborated on that slightly. But I will I don't know why I'm laughing, but it was so embarrassing for me because I used to think they were the same. So I have a video coming up about this in details. I'm really interested because even for me I was like, wow. Okay, so I'll be sharing about this. So thank you for the viewer who asked this question. It and I did say it's in process. So I'll be sharing more about it. So stay tuned. And if you have any questions again on any of my videos, make sure you comment and share it so we can talk about it and keep the conversation going. So the next question, I'm a biomedical scientist in Pakistan and want to relocate to the UK. Are there any jobs available? The answer, yes, there is always jobs available. However, it's crucial, like again I mentioned earlier on, make sure your qualifications and experiences meet the UK standards or SOPs, and make sure that you secure the HCPC registration, and then look for positions that align with your experience. And again, networking and applying through reputable job portals will also help you. I'll add to that, make sure that you email the head of department and let them know that you are interested. And on that note, I wanted to also share with you guys about some people, what they do. Think of locum work, which I'm going to talk about that. So make sure that you check the HCPC website, like we've mentioned earlier, the NHS jobs, LinkedIn, professional networks and associations. So research about any events in your area about this, attend even virtual events, and these will help you to find the right opportunities and support. So that's a starter package for you. But all the tips that I've shared with you in terms of the HCPC and all that, consider that. Don't just apply for the job and hope for the best, because the competition is very high. So again, as a reminder, make sure you're secure the HCPC, validate your qualifications, apply for relevant jobs, and make sure you follow up. Don't just apply aimlessly. No, follow up, speak to them, find out where the gaps are. But make sure that's why I put the questions in that order, so it's answering the questions in order, let's say. So that's why I wanted to speak about this part, because a lot of people, and this is from my research, a lot of people just apply for the NHS and wait. But there are other opportunities where you can start applying for locum or bank work. Locum is a great way to at least get in. So we're going to have a look in a few seconds how you can go about. I'll give you an example on how you can explore, at least you get in. And then, like I did, I started in private and then I moved to NHS and then went back to private and now I'm in the NHS and so on. So private is a really good point to get started. So locum or bank work, it's temporary contract on a short-term basis, filling the gaps in staffing. It offers you flexibility in choosing the assignment, location, and working hours, and also gives you gain exposure to different laboratory techniques and practices. So we're going to have a look at the locum setting. At least it gives you an idea on what it's like. And I've already just spoken in my recent video about my own experience and how it helped me. But now I just want to show you, just so that to give you variety on or extra opportunities on how you can explore getting a job and move into the UK. So what I did, I just went into Google and I've just put recruitment, healthcare or biomedical science recruitment, and this was one of the agencies that appeared. So if you, that's the front page. So if you just go scroll down and look for the biomedical science, which is just there. If you click, it shows you the jobs, an overview of what biomedical science, what are the latest positions. See, there can be MLA, it could be in microbiology, anything related to biomedical science. So what you do, you click on let's just assume, click on the MLA, for example. So let's say if you're a biomedical scientist and you're looking for positions and you want to enter the country, you can, and these are based on what other people have done. So they've applied for MLA, while they're applying for the HCPC, and they are working in the UK while they're waiting for the application to be processed. And once they qualify for biomedical scientist, then they apply for a biomedical scientist job because they finished their registration with the HCPC. So in this case, what you do, you just apply and you register and you send your CV, and then the agency will do the work for you, and then you can at least get started. So you can consider that option instead of just applying for the NHS and waiting for it and not getting a response. So yeah, we had a look at the website. So the reason I always talk about that, because I've seen how people, they have started that way. They've applied through Locum in, and they've entered the country, they worked as an MLA, they've applied for the HCPC. So while they're waiting for the HCPC, they've got a secure job, they're working. Sometimes they apply for the NHS and then they get a job in the NHS and so on. So it's a process. It's a good starting point. The bank staffing is similar, but you apply through the NHS. So I'm not sure if that route is easier if you're an international candidate. My knowledge ends there. So, but I haven't heard. Whatever I'm sharing here is from other people's experiences and me asking around. So if anybody out there who's done the banking directly from outside the UK, let me know, comment in the section and share your experience. At least everybody else will benefit. And I will find out and let you know. But in terms of locum, this is what I have heard, and I'm sharing it with you guys. It's another way where you can just at least apply for position in the UK and then get started while you're waiting for your HCPC. So to the final question, I found this question was very interesting. Just to give you hope. Hi, I came across your profile and found your journey very inspirational. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I've done a BSc in biochemistry, just like I did, and achieved the third class. That's almost 2-2, by the way. I got 2-2, by the way, guys. Do you think I could get an MSc in biomedical science? Since graduating, I've worked in dentistry for 2 years and recently got a role as a science technician in a secondary school. Also, I'm doing my MSc in healthcare management. Fantastic. Well done on that. So, my answer here is you need to recognize your work experience. Well done. You need to highlight your strong foundation from experience in dentistry and being a science technician. Having a third class honors does not limit you from applying for MSc in biomedical science. You're already studying healthcare management, and that's not an easy MSc. I've done a postgraduate certificate in healthcare management. I don't see there's a problem. How to strengthen your application? Research the university entry requirements. Some of them might accept a third class because remember, you've got additional experience, you've got additional certification, and I personally think having an MSc will strengthen your application. Because for me, I had a 2-2 biochemistry degree and then I applied for biomedical science. I had no lab experience, by the way. I just went straight into the MSc and I got accepted. So don't worry about that. And emphasize on your work experience and create a compelling personal statement that will explain your passion for biomedical science. And the good news is we need biomedical scientists. There is a huge shortage in biomedical scientists. So I don't think that will limit you. But also you have an advantage of your work experience. So make sure that you highlight that, because some people have masters in biomedical science and they don't have lab experience like myself, and they had to struggle and they had to start all over again. So don't be afraid to explore that, and make sure that you communicate with the administration. So networking is very important to advise on entry options or bridging courses. So make sure you communicate. When I applied for the healthcare management, I made sure that I communicated with the admin staff, and that was a learning experience for me, by the way, is to communicate with them. So yeah, well done on that, and keep me posted. Let me know how it went for you, and all the best. So finally, I just wanted to include this inspiring section in my video. In the previous video, I mentioned about my second book about creating your dream career. By the way, I forgot to mention that both of my books are available on Amazon internationally, whether if you like it electronic copy or if you like it physical book like I've got in these photo shoots. Yes, I do take photo shoots. And they're both available on Amazon. So I've included the link in the previous video. I forgot to mention that. And this has started from my journey to become a biomedical scientist. So my journey, I've turned my journeys into words to empower you through my books. So my journey to become a biomedical scientist has led me to become self-published author. So I'm hoping my writings will inspire you guys to make the most of your career regardless to your profession. My first book was it was my journey or my frustrations to become a biomedical scientist. I think I write, I speak. It's available on Amazon again. I've got the link here. And in the video description and in the last week's video description, I've got all the links there. So I spoke about how I overcome it, and I put it under what they don't tell you during before you start your career. And I've shared my struggles. It started when I used to share my thoughts on my social media, particularly Instagram. So I've put it in a book. I've self-published it. I didn't know how to do the editing, by the way, so that was interesting. These struggles, I've turned them into opportunities for growth and success. I didn't know I'll become a self published author. So that was the first book to become a biomedical scientist. And then when I became a biomedical scientist, I discovered that you can create your dream career beyond job applications. And that was navigating the future of work post-pandemic world. So in my book, I talk about the evolving landscape of work, the changes that are happening, and provide actionable strategies for transitioning careers post the pandemic. And I've included about how you can network, how you can do personal branding, how to use LinkedIn, and those essential work for the future of work. It's a futuristic book, but it's my journey after becoming biomedical scientist. And I wanted to share that any role that you take, you can create your career. So I'm trying to prove being a biomedical scientist does not limit me to be in the lab. Definitely, I have a role in society, and it's in progress, but I'm seeing the good signs about them. So that's why I wanted to share both of my books. They're very simple books, they're not very long, something for you to read. And thank you for everybody who bought the book and gave me feedback. And I really hope, of course, there's a third book. That's it. I discovered that I'm a writer, and that's how biomedical science has given me the opportunity to express my thoughts my way, being a scientist, and hopefully that will inspire you as well to make the most of your career and the best of your career. I hope this video has answered some of the questions that you had and gave you a clear picture on your career path in biomedical sciences. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them in future videos. And don't forget to subscribe for more insight and on building on your career in this exciting field. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and hit the notification button so then you will be updated with any more information that I'm going to be sharing. And I've got some exciting content I'm going to share with you, and some amazing guests who are going to come on this platform who will be sharing their experiences, and I'm so excited about what's coming. And believe me, you're not alone. Keep the conversation going, keep the comments coming, keep asking questions that you need, because I have benefited from this career. Yes, every career has its challenges. Appreciate that and make the most. Again, don't be afraid to ask for support. And again, network is so important for you to succeed in this career. So please comment and like this video. And I hope this channel will grow, because the reason I created this initiative to simplify it for you guys and to appreciate how great this career can be. I'm not sugarcoating it for you. I'm telling you, every career has its own challenge. That's why I share this in my writing, and the future of career is going to be like that. You have to keep creating your career, updating your skills, etc. But don't worry, that's the whole point. I've created this channel, and hopefully we all gonna be growing together and thriving together. And until the next video, keep shining, keep inspiring, and see you next time.